Welcome to the 1 in 20 show. I'm here with Evan Rogers. My name is Noah Preheim, and according to him, I'm one of the most unprofessional and non-put-together persons he's ever met.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today I have with me Noah Preheim, and we're going to just talk about all kinds of good stuff. Noah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I feel like the nice thing about podcasts is like no one knows that I'm naked right now.
You guys, honestly, there's no telling what happens behind a podcast, and you really just don't know. This whole thing is just totally not staged at all. It's great.
This horse mask is really inconvenient.
It's kind of muffling my voice a little bit. I got to take it off. So guys, this is Noah. We met together doing a project where me and Kyle Brooks were putting together a film, and Noah was our actor for it, and it was like a mockumentary style office thing, and it was fun.
Oscar.
What?
Oswald. It was Oswald.
Yeah, he was Oswald.
I've embarrassed myself on this
Oh my
podcast.
gosh, the writer would be mad about that one.
Yeah.
And we just kind of hit it off, and we had a good day, and we also have a bunch of mutual friends, and we actually lived together in the dorms for a while, but never talked or like acknowledged each other, basically at all.
I made eye contact one time.
I remember
I was in my towel.
You were in your towel. Yeah, and I just kind of came on in, and Kyle had his collection of these preemie baby doll things that he was going to use for a video. And I remember coming in and seeing them, and then turning around, and Noah was in the towel, and that's where our great friendship began.
He was channeling his inner David Lynch.
Yes. Who he talks about a lot.
He loves him.
He loves him.
Yeah.
We were just kind of talking about all kinds of different things, and Noah went abroad to Israel about a year before I went abroad to Italy, and ended up going to Italy.
Yeah.
And you know, what's the world traveling thing mean to you, and like what's the bug? Because I know you also mentioned to me that you're wanting to hopefully work overseas eventually.
Yeah.
What's the whole draw to working over there?
Well, I got my degree in applied mathematics, which was super difficult.
Yeah.
And I'd be super jealous of all my other friends when they were like working on these fun projects and whatnot, and I was like designing a computer program about probabilities of like chemicals interacting.
Wow.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about math is it's universal and can be taught anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think I spent 3 months in Israel, and about 10 days of that was in Italy.
Yeah.
And was reminded there of how much I love. Maybe it's because I view people like a math problem, like cultures or individuals, like figuring out their language or what offends them and what doesn't, and like their ideologies. And the challenge is just like so riveting for me. So the thought of like traveling abroad and maybe teaching internationally the skill that I know and sounds super riveting to me. Being able to figure out other people's languages and what makes them tick and the differences and whatnot.
Well, and math in a lot of different subjects, you know, depending on what it is, but math in particular has such a vibe where it's like its own language. Speak, like you mentioned, like you can speak that with other people, you know, just through problem solving and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's super fascinating. And what part of Italy did you visit?
So we started out in Rome. That's where we landed. We were there for about 2 to 3 days, and then we took a train to Florence. Yeah. Stayed there for a couple days. Took a train to Venice, and we're there. I got pooped on by a bird there. I think I had a different Venice experience than a lot of other people did.
Yeah, the glamorous.
Yeah. Everyone, when they talk about Venice, it was very like hot and humid, and there were a bunch of bugs. Like when we were there, it was cloudy and like cool.
Was it? I was going to say, was it cold?
It was cold. Yeah.
Was it really?
We were in jackets and hats the whole time.
Because you went in what part of the year?
November.
Yeah. Most people go in the summer anyway. So yeah.
And I actually loved it like that. I think it completely like not crowded at all.
Yeah.
You know, nightlife was still popping.
How do you feel about like humidity as far as?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I am too. I love it. There wasn't any at that
no.
time. Okay.
I mean,
you mean when you got pooped on by a bird during that time?
That was pretty humid.
I bet that felt humid on your arm.
I thought it had started raining actually, but it was just bird poop on my head.
That is
some of it hit Kyle too, but
oh my gosh,
I feel like I got most of it.
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, no, I after going to Italy last year, that was the experience for me that we were just talking about this a little bit ago, that I felt like I needed to get away from home for a while and experience just experience a different culture. And you feel, because you feel so far away. We were just both talking about how that is such a draw of why I think a lot of people should go abroad before they're 25, maybe, because it just helps you, orient yourself with a life that you don't know as well. I don't know if you felt like uncomfortable at all because you were outside of your realm. Not really. No. But I know a lot of people do have that experience where it's like, wow, I'm not home. Right. I need to start making decisions for myself more. And even at college is a bit of a safe place.
Oh yeah. Your meals are prepared. I mean, you pay for the calf and things are, when you go to class and whatnot, but at least for us going to Italy, I don't know how much this was true in your trip, but it was all self-planned, and it was just like 3 of us, and we were on our own, and it was really fun to see, because some people are just really bad at that, and so it was fun. What could have been very chaotic, and for a lot of people it was like everything ran super smoothly, and it was great. Like all the trains we needed to find, finding directions, finding where to go, Airbnb, really accommodating. Such a fun experience. No
That's awesome.
Complaints at all.
So what's your opinion between Israel and Italy? Because you were in Israel longer. So I don't know if you want to tell them how long you were there. And
so that was 3 months. Very
long
different.
Time.
Yeah. One, the language is a lot harder to kind of grasp than Italian was, especially if you know Spanish already.
Right.
So that was really easy to do. But in Israel, getting around, thankfully most people speak English, but a lot of business owners, they only speak Arabic and Hebrew. So that's kind of unless you're in Old City Jerusalem, where everyone kind of speaks English, because that's where the tourists are.
Right.
But that was awesome. And what was great about that and fascinating is in America, we would frown on a lot of the things that actually are a staple of their function as a people group. Here we frown upon segregation. They need it. They the fact that the Old City is divided between the Muslim quarter, the what's the other one? Armenian quarter, Jewish and Christian. They don't see any problem with that. You're going to have communities that are solely Christian. You're going to have communities that are solely Muslim. You're going to have communities that are solely, and no one really complains about it. It's not like a Christian tries to move into a Muslim neighborhood and is
interesting,
let me move here. They want to be with their own kind. And it's interesting to see the positives and the negatives behind it. Because the positives are that you people by you do profile. And they profile as a culture. You see someone dressed a certain way, and you know that they are Muslim or Jewish or Christian. And to us that sounds inherently negative. It's no, we don't want that. But there it's actually helpful. And for the most, obviously there are negative people who do take advantage of this. For the most part, when you see someone wearing Muslim garb, it's not they're Muslim. It's you just acknowledge their background. Of course, then the negatives are that there are a lot of people they don't really get along over there.
I know there's a lot of strife.
That's widely known. So they don't really get along over there, but it's interesting to see a completely different mindset. I'm blonde hair, blue eyed. I would be the one in the airport who got like, I didn't thankfully, but like it wouldn't be a surprise if I were the one who was like quartered in the airport and like asked like to unpack my stuff.
Interesting.
And be like investigated because like
so flip-flopped.
Yeah, because I'm the one who looks like more German.
Yeah.
And that's happened to other people who've gone to Olympics before. Like I know other people who've had like blonde hair look more European. Like they're actually the ones. And the funny thing is I was ready for that to happen, and I wasn't gonna like mind it if it did, because like I understood their mindset behind it,
right,
and what they've experienced historically as a people.
Yeah.
I wasn't offended. Had that happened, I would have been like, I get it. You're watching your borders. You're trying to be careful and prudent with who you let in and out.
Interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost flip-flopped.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it's kind of, in a lot of ways, I feel like that's kind of encouraging. That should be encouraging to our culture, just in seeing that not everything, even though we are a melting pot here, that not everything is as bad as it seems. Yes. It's a whole collective world effort to try to maintain what makes a nation great, right? But I think it is interesting that there are still so many crossovers. Maybe the language barrier obviously is something that doesn't cross over, but it is important to be cultural and international to the point where you can communicate. And that's cool. I'm excited to hear that you want to go overseas for that.
Yeah,
that's really neat. And we were chatting even about just kind of just how we share kind of more of a cynical personality and outlook on life, but yet in the same respect we both really love to love people, and to really show them why they matter and find value. I know I'm big on that. I mean, that's the whole reason why I love this, doing this kind of thing. And this to me is like downtime, because it's fun to talk and get to know somebody. Yeah. But why, we were talking about this earlier. So why to you is that such a big part of life, and how in a lot of ways this doesn't really happen with just the new generation coming up anymore?
Yeah. I think it has to do with comfort zones. I think even finding out in, I work in ministry. Yeah. Everyone's all about what they're comfortable with. Right. And that becomes a huge pain in the butt for like when you need people who are willing to do stuff. And I'm not saying like, that there are like some valid comfort zones that like, it makes sense, or a certain giftedness or talent that maybe like you don't have, and so you're like, I'd just rather not. Yeah. I think I'm more of the attitude that like, if I don't have that talent or gift, I'm going to take on and learn. Like I'm going to figure it out. Right. And so I think,
which is very important.
Yeah. I think there's like a too much of a priority on one's comfort zones when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah. And so I think I prioritize the opposite of like, I may be uncomfortable for a little bit, but like I'm gonna adapt. I'm gonna figure adaptability is really important to me. And so
that should be at everybody's, I mean, that should be on everybody's radar. Right. I mean, just with that's a big thing about being self-aware, and being and understanding the way that things go, whether it be relationships or just the way that our country is going, good or bad. It just, those are things that you need to keep in mind. Yeah. Like you're saying. Yeah.
And I think understanding that no one's going to think the same way that you do. Yeah. And every time you meet someone, you make a friend, is going to be a lesson in adaptability. Yeah. Like, how are you going to treat this person differently than maybe you treat this other friend? Or how are you going to like specifically meet them where they're at? And that takes getting out of your comfort zone. That takes being creative and being adaptable.
I think that's very valid advice that I've learned as well. And I think just this time of self-discovery, I'm 20. How old are you again? 22. Yeah. It's still under 25, even if not older. There's so many real life lessons that keep coming at you that you just keep needing to understand. And that's a good perspective. I think I've learned.
The person you are at 25 is so different than the person you are at 18.
Or 24.
Or 24. Yeah, that's so true. There's so many like things that change between that time of like, as weird as it sounds, like, not to sound all like new agey, but like, you know, figuring out how you function, your qualities, you know, finding yourself. Yeah. But then also you kind of start to figure other people out too. Yeah. You start to be like, oh, you know, this isn't how I originally thought it was.
Right. And I think my biggest life motto bouncing off of this is just everything in moderation. I've learned a lot about how just with my very hypersensitive personality where I can kind of bounce back and forth on anything, on any topic, and I waver a lot emotionally. And so I've learned that, you know, everything in moderation has become my motto when I approach different issues that I have to deal with. Because I realized that if I sway too much on one side where maybe it's way too dramatic or way too not thought of enough, that I end up hurting myself. And then and also to mention that that's an okay thing if you keep that in your head, to not get discouraged that maybe you're not where you want to be yet. I think about that a lot. I don't know if you have anything to say about that. That to me is something that I always try to help people that need, you know, not help people because I have a leg up, but just as I've learned, help encourage peers that is it's okay to not have everything figured out.
Oh yeah, you never will.
Right.
Just like, welcome to the club, because you won't.
Right.
Everyone's so big on having the answers, and if they would have just had the time to realize that they didn't, and not freak out and jump to conclusions and make decisions that they had no business making, they would have been in a lot better predicament. I think, you know, taking a step back and being like, oh, you know what, maybe this isn't something I need to make a decision on right away. Sure. You know, because I don't have the answers. I don't have this figured out. Like, I mean, that's true about so many things. That's true about jobs and hurt and grief and relationships.
So so true.
Like, if you go into one of those things thinking I should have this figured out, you're on like a one-way trip to messing it up and like making a bunch of mistakes.
Totally.
But that's not to say that, you know, mistakes are a bad thing, because that's actually how you're gonna learn most of the time.
Exactly.
By messing up.
And all of a sudden I realized too that like just having this conversation, we're already like around almost 2 minutes left. I have like these bumper questions that I always ask that take about 2 minutes. So on a lighthearted note, what's your favorite like snack food that you couldn't live without? What's your who's your dream celebrity to spend the day with? And then a more deeper question, where do you see yourself in like 5 years?
Okay.
In the last like 2 minutes.
I'll make this quick. So most of my answers are probably going to be lies that I thought of top of my head.
Okay.
Okay. So favorite snack right now is the dark chocolate peanut butter cups from Trader Joe's.
Really good.
I've been buying those like once a week and kind of finishing them. And I put them in the freezer. Amazing.
So good.
Celebrity hangout, like what I'd like, a celebrity I'd like to hang out with.
Yeah, all day.
Oh gosh. Who would it be? Sophie Turner, Sansa Stark.
Yeah.
Or Dark Phoenix from X-Men.
That'd be awesome.
Because I have like a crush on her, but that's kind of like, you know, whatever.
Celebrity crush counts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a shallow reason, but
no, that's cool.
5 years, I see myself, again, definitely not set in stone, but I see myself in possibly Bangkok, Thailand.
Wow.
At an international school.
Wow.
But would be open to anywhere. You know, spreading those comfort zones.
Anyway, thank you, Noah, for being on the show. And as we wrap things up, thank you guys for listening, and keep in, oh my gosh, I butchered that. Thank you guys.
We'll edit that out.
Thank you guys for listening. And wow, I cannot say what I want to say.
Keep on keeping on, kids.
Keep on keeping on. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook to keep up with the new episodes of the show. Like and subscribe if this was YouTube. That's all
smash
I meant
that
to say.
mofo like button.
Yeah, smash the MF like button. And thank you for listening.